Hey guys, now that we have digested simple strategy, let's move on to advanced strategy. Advanced strategy is a very important stepping stone so we can go from it to complex strategy in the future. But let's go over the main differences. Simple strategy is just a strategy, as we discussed before, that involves one tactic. So we use one tactic and that achieves the goal for the strategy and we have a successful strategy. When we come to advanced strategy, it gets a little bit more tricky. So let's just use an example, because advanced strategy will use mini goals and it will also use tactics for every mini goal. So basically what I would like to achieve, let's say, is that I would like to advise my player to play a little bit more aggressive. I want my player to start attacking the net, start winning points at the net. So how do we achieve that strategy? That's a little bit advanced because it's gonna take more than one step to be able to achieve that strategy. So if I was to explain this to my coaches or to explain this to my players, the easiest way is to first break it down into mini goals. And mini goals only start, surfacing when we start actually dealing with advanced strategy, because simple strategy only has one tactic. So let's say, the first mini goal that I want to achieve the major strategy would be, let's say, take control of the point. So we're gonna go with take control. Okay? Because I believe that, for me to advance to the net, I first have to take control of the rally. Could be as early as the second ball after the serve, or could be after working a few ground strokes and then doing that. So what would be the tactic for that mini goal? Let's say playing deep will allow me to take control of the point. So the tactic will be playing deep. And for our purposes, let's call that mini goal 1 and tactic 1. So the first step that I have to do to implement this strategy is play the ball deeper in the court. That will push my opponent behind the baseline, okay? And that would allow me to take control of the rally, because to me that's, step number 1 to advancing my overall strategy. If we go down to mini goal number 2, is actually attacking my opponent's weaker side to be able to get a short ball. So when I talked with my coach prior to the match, he informed me that, for example, my opponent has a weaker backhand. So then, as I take control, I attack the backhand. All right? What would be the tactic for that? I think it's pretty simple. Which is playing with pressure to the backhand. So, I have to first take control of the point, which means that possibly I'm playing deeper than that. So that would be my tactic number 1, which is playing the last quarter of the court, making sure that I move the ball around to take control. And then start attacking the backhand side. So here is the backhand side for my opponent if he's a righty. So I'm gonna attack that side. So let's say I'm gonna be like in zone 1 here, in the middle of the court, and I'm gonna be attacking that backhand side, okay? Why did I say pressure and not speeding up or slowing down? The reason why I said pressure is because attacking that backhand could be done in 2 different ways. You could play heavier to that backhand, and you could also play faster to that backhand. And that depends on the player. And that's something that a coach needs to explain to their players. But, it's very important to understand there's more than one way to put the pressure. So I said playing with pressure, which means that I will use whatever tactic that I discuss with my coach in regards to putting that kind of pressure. So it's very important to understand that attacking that backhand side, okay, and putting pressure to that backhand side moves me to mini goal number 3. So mini goal number 3 in this case would be to get the short ball and approach, right? So it's very important for me to achieve that through putting pressure to the backhand. So if we say mini goal number 3 is approach the net. Okay, I think I'm missing an A here, but I hope you guys can read my handwriting. So approaching the net would be mini goal number 3, and that would allow me to reach the net. So it's very important that I approach the net to the side that I believe could generate the easiest volley for me. And in this case, since I already have discussed with my coach that my opponent has a weaker backhand, so I'm gonna approach most probably to the backhand side. But one very important thing to take care of is that I would definitely like to approach more down the line, okay? And that's the easiest thing to cover. So I'm hoping that I get the short ball here, so I can approach to that side. That's the best way. What, for example, happens if I get the short ball to the opposite side? If I get the short ball here, do I approach cross court to the backhand? Strategically, that would be a very dangerous move. I will still have to approach, but I will approach down the line to the forehand side. That's why it's very important that when coaches are teaching their players, you know, the approaching options, the short balls that you're getting, that you're covering both sides. For example, if I was talking to this player, I would say, if we get the short ball to the backhand side, our strategy would be to chip down the line. The tactic would be to chip down the line and come into my position here at the net. But if my short ball lands on the forehand side, I still would advise the down the line approach and come in and cover on this side. So either way, for that strategy to be successful, I have also to discuss options with my player. And that changes because there's 100 of combinations. This is just an example to give you guys the guidelines of how to explain it, and you have a good understanding of what you're talking about. So you have to understand that the short ball could land in either side, so you need to make sure that your player is ready to advance on both sides if you're going to ask him to do that. Because if he advances from this side, the other coach on the other side will say, hey, if you want to land it short to the backhand. And if you're not ready to cover this as well, your whole strategy will fail. So let's go to our next step and our last mini goal, which is putting the ball at the net, you know, putting the ball away at the net. And that's what my coach asked me to do. That's what I asked my players to play a little more aggressive, come and put the ball to the net. So let's, we need to like put down the tactic here, which is hitting an approach and approach of both sides, because it's very important to do it off both sides, like we said. All right, so that would be the tactic for mini goal number 3. So I've taken control of the point by playing deep. I've attacked the backhand by playing with pressure to that backhand. I got the short ball, and now I'm approaching to the net, okay, by hitting an approach shot of both sides down the line. All right, so now that I'm to my last step in this strategy, which is mini goal number 4. Putting the volley away. Putting volley away. That's my final mini goal for my strategy to succeed. So what would be the last tactic to have for this volley? And I will explain it in a second. The last tactic, which is tactic 4, would be volley to the kill zone. Volley to kill zone. And for those of you who don't know what the kill zone is, it is where the ball would die before my opponent reaches it. So basically, if I'm actually coming to my volley, if I come in here down the line to my opponent's backhand here, and I station myself right here, why am I a little bit to the right? To be able to cover right and cut the cross court if my opponent passes cross court. So we still have both options that we need to cover. So if my opponent comes back, let me use the red line so you guys can actually see the difference between the approaches and the volleys. If the passing shot comes this way, my kill zone would be this way, right? That would be the kill zone. That would be my volley, okay? If my opponent starts passing me this way, my kill zone would be this way, all right? How about if he goes cross court? If my opponent for any reason decides to pass me cross court, I will be stationed in this place here. If he passes me cross court, I will cut this here, down the line a little deeper. And why do I say deeper? Because you're passing through the higher part of the net. So that backhand has to go a little bit deeper to that side. So this is my second kill zone right here. All right, it got a little bit complicated now, but if we take it step by step, I think you'll be able to explain that very well to your opponents. I'm sorry, to your players. So as we can see, the advanced strategy differs a little bit in that it has a lot of mini goals, and each mini goal has its own tactic. So basically these tactics, if executed properly, are going to allow you to succeed in your strategy, in your overall strategy. And top players are repeating this point after point after point after point. So you can see how much preparation is going. Now, the good thing about it is it becomes a little bit automatic after a while when you work with those players. But in the beginning, it takes a little bit of work. Now, one very important thing for us to discuss is that we can actually, when talking to our players, go from bottom up. So I can explain to my player that to be able to put the ball away at the volley, I will need to hit a better approach. And to hit a better approach, I need to get an easier ball, which is the shorter ball. And that's why I'm pressuring the backhand. And to do that, I need to play deep. So whether you go, how the action is going to go step after step, or whether you take the strategy from bottom up, it helps you set up your lesson, and it helps you explain it to your player that either way you go for that strategy to succeed, you're going to have to go step by step. Okay, but understanding it, you can go from the final result and take it one step back, or you can start by building blocks and progress all the way to putting the ball away. I hope that gives you guys a good idea of the advanced strategy. And once we digest this very well, we're going to move to our next step, which is the complex strategy. It's a little bit tricky, but once you get the simple and advanced strategy, it's a lot easier to implement. I hope you guys liked our presentation for advanced strategy. And please like this video and subscribe to our channel so you can continue watching the videos that we're going to be posting. And I look forward to seeing you guys in complex strategy soon.